Hey everyone, another video. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've been affected by and I think affects everyone, but it's a huge change in your life when you understand that you're being affected by it, um, and can really improve your life and improve your mindset and show you the path to something that is a better version of yourself, right? And so today I'm going to talk about trauma and triggers. So trauma being the source of the problem and triggers being the result of that source. So trauma, as most people know, it is something that happens that is quite a huge event. Okay, it can happen anywhere really. A lot of trauma occurs in your childhood, but it can happen all the way up to 18. It can happen throughout your whole life, but depending on when your age is, depends on the impact it has, because obviously the maturity of your mental capacity, right? So they say when you're in your your first 7 years, right, things that occur get packed down onto the foundation of your life. And so if something occurs, for example, when people experience childcare abuse, and then as they go on through their life, as they get into adult, it kind of grows within inside them, and becomes something that then becomes their personality. For example, they struggle with the relationships. They find it hard to kind of have this kind of like sexual connection because their body's gone, oh, that happened and that was terrible, and now everything that happens or occurs to do with that, I'm going to shut you down, because the basis of your brain is to, apart from obviously connecting your body and making it move, is it wants to protect you. It wants to protect you from harm, and it all comes down to that whole like fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, and a lot of the time that happens in adults, a lot of people's personalities can be traced right back to their childhood, and also traced back to one single event that hasn't been dealt with correctly, openly, and so it is hidden away. And that's what the brain does. The brain will take something that happened to you. Maybe it was a bad relationship. Maybe it was an encounter with something which really shook you. But at that time, you weren't mentally like evolved enough to deal with it as an adult. And I am just starting to deal with it. Be mentally evolved enough to deal with it in my late 30s. And so, the earlier you know about it, the better, okay? Because obviously this trauma can induce personality issues, ways you deal with things, and then when you have children, you then teach them it. And sometimes you can teach them it without even knowing. It's reflective, so you reflect on them, you mirror onto them, and you're not doing it knowingly, okay? And there's a lot of things that I know about myself that I don't want my daughter to carry on, okay? So when the trauma happens, for example, we use the example of a pretty bad relationship, okay? When you're young, and it can be quite sensitive, quite emotionally kind of triggered, you have a bad relationship breakup, okay? And something happens to you. At the time, you're not ready to deal with it. So you just think, you deal with it in a way which you only know how, which is normally like anger or frustration or sadness, okay? And then your brain, subconsciously, without you knowing, takes that, says, I don't really want to deal with that now, and bangs it in a box in your brain somewhere, okay? In your subconscious. But that subconscious box is not particularly airtight. So as you go through life, it leaks. And this traumatic experience and these emotions that dealt with this traumatic experience leak into every part of your flipping life, and your relationships and the way you friendships. And when children come along, how you teach them how to deal with relationships. Maybe you bring in a little bit of like kind of sexism or kind of like, or something like that, because you feel like women are going to hurt you. And these things you don't really know until you find time to actually say that you need help to deal with it, or you understand the triggers that you have, i.e. the things that set you off, okay, and then therefore you can then go to someone, a professional, or if you find someone in a relationship who's really, really good at talking, that is actually one of the best ways to get rid of triggers, is for you to be with someone that you really care about and for you to talk, for you to be triggered, and for you to have a relationship that's open enough to talk about it, without discrimination, without someone taking the mick out of you. It's just, everyone has it. It's called baggage, okay? Everyone has it. There's a really amusing kind of description when someone says, like, when you meet someone in a club or pub when you're 21, okay, you have nothing. You have like if you have anything, I would call it like a very small bag. When you meet someone when you're in your mid-30s, you're carrying a Bergen. You're carrying a rucksack full of exes, ex-children, finances, divorces, stuff like that. No one comes clean. So you've got to deal with that fallout and trauma. So yeah, it's really important to kind of deal with these things, because so many people go through life not dealing with these things, and it affects everything. It becomes like this continually circle of kind of radiating these really kind of, not bad, but they're not very efficient ways of living, okay? Anger, anxiety, confrontational, all these kind of these things that people don't really like to be, okay? And it's not very helpful when you're communicating with other people. My big thing is children, okay? It's a big driver for me. There is nothing I won't do for my child, and therefore I'm willing to put myself and talk about some very sensitive and upsetting things, because I want to fix them, because I want to be the best version of myself, because I don't want her to deal with my problems. So yeah, that's trauma and triggers. And I don't believe there's one person on this earth that isn't dealing with something. And we are all able to become the best versions of ourselves. But to do that, we need to look within, and that can be a pretty painful experience. But like I said, nothing worth having is ever on the other side of something easy. Anyway, people, take it easy. Chill. Laters.